South Coast Plaza is a regional shopping mall in Costa Mesa, California that opened in 1967. Thank you for all of your comment. If you've clicked onto this video, then you know what today is. It's Monday, Mall Madness. Every Monday I'll be releasing a new video on a defunct or maybe not so defunct mall and its history. Make sure you stick around at the very end of the videos. I'd like to see if you, the viewer, are paying attention. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for my latest mall video, defunct store, occasional throwback Thursday, or soda history. Leave a suggestion about a future video or memories of this mall. Thanks. In March of 1967, members of the Segerstrom family, most notably Hal Segerstrom and cousin Henry Segerstrom, opened a shopping center called South Coast Plaza in one of the family's lima bean fields in the rapidly growing Orange County. The new shopping center occupied a part of the Segerstrom's family's 2,500 acres of farmland. They grew alfalfa and had dairy cows, but the family made its reputation in lima beans. C.J. Segerstrom & Sons was the nation's largest independent producer of the legume, and known for producing beans of such quality that canners, who required nearly perfect specimens, paid the highest prices for the pristine Segerstrom product. When the mall opened on March 15, 1967, it was originally anchored by May Company that opened in late 1966 and Sears soon after. The first of South Coast Plaza's two carousels debuted on March 15, 1967 as part of the shopping center's opening. Located between Sears and the May Company at the time, the carousel became a favorite attraction for the families who visited South Coast Plaza. Its location was called Carousel Court. The success of the center brought rapid expansion. An additional wing with Bullock's in 1973, I. Magnin in 1977, Nordstrom's in 1978, and Saks Fifth Avenue in 1979. The opening of the Nordstrom store was the first Nordstrom store outside of the Pacific Northwest and marked the West Coast and later the nationwide expansion of its chain. In 1986, the center began opening its largest expansion, with Nordstrom's replacing its store with a new location twice the size of the original, and the addition of a freestanding wing across Bear Street. It was literally another mall next to the other. Crystal Court was anchored by the Broadway and J.W. Robinson's, which opened in the fall of 1986. After doing as many mall videos as I have, how many malls have you heard of having 7 anchor stores at the same time? This signified South Coast Plaza's elevation from regional shopping center to national shopping destination. The expansion continued in the fall of 1987 with an enlargement of Bullock's and the redevelopment of the former Nordstrom's as an additional center space, including a Tiffany's that opened in the fall of 1988. The Crystal Court standalone wing never performed as well as the original center, its separation due to both land restrictions and the fact that May Company and the Broadway routinely refused to allow each other to build stores at their existing centers, which explains the proximity of so many competing malls throughout Southern California. For me personally, I always thought it reminded me of a dead mall. It was always empty, and most of the stores that I wanted to go to was across the street at the main mall. It was also an inconvenience to go there as well. You either had to drive and park there, or walk across the connector bridge, which is cool at night, but kind of a hassle. In 1991, the I. Magnin location was closed by I. Magnin's new owner, Federated Department Stores, and reopened as the first standalone Bullock's men's store, also owned by Federated. May Company department stores and J.W. Robinson's merged in 1993 to form Robinson's May, retaining both locations as separate full-line stores, while the two Bullock's locations and Broadway store was Macy's. Just like Robinson's May, had separate stores being maintained on both sides of Bear Street. In 1995, prior to Federated Department Stores' Broadway stores merger, Bloomingdale's was in negotiations to build a location at South Coast Plaza, but other anchor tenants would not give permission for its construction. When Federated merged all the stores into Macy's West Division in 1996, it opted not to convert Broadway's Crystal Court location to Bloomingdale's. Another $100 million renovation and reconfiguring of the center came in 2000, with Robinson's May closing its Crystal Court location and expanding the original May Company store. The separate Crystal Court name was dropped and the freestanding wing, now called the West Wing, was joined to the original center by a 600-foot-long pedestrian bridge across Bear Street. The west side was reoriented toward home furnishings anchored by the former Broadway store, which was refurbished as Macy's Home and Furniture. The former J.W. Robinson store was redeveloped as center space at the time, housing primarily Crate and Barrel, Borders Books and Music, and Sports Chalet. In 2006, the Robinson's May store, historically the first store at South Coast Plaza as May Company, was closed as part of its merger with Macy's and reopened as Bloomingdale's in 2007. In 2004, South Coast Plaza received the federal trademark as the ultimate shopping resort. A number of luxury brands have chosen South Coast Plaza as one of their few, and for some brands, their only, store locations. Zara made its debut in the California market, opening their first California store in South Coast Plaza in 2004. In 2005, French luxury design house Chloe opted to open their second United States boutique at South Coast Plaza. Watch manufacturer Rolex opened their flagship U.S. location at South Coast Plaza. Purveyor of modern furniture, Room & Board, also opened a 40,000 square foot showroom in 2002. Since 2007, South Coast Plaza has held Fashion Plates, an annual 10-day restaurant week-like promotion of its high-end restaurants at discounted rates. In 2016, Italian designer brand Weekend Max Mara opened its freestanding store in California. In July of 2017, the Sears store was sold to the mall owners. The Sears anchor was closed permanently on January 1st, 2019, making it the last original anchor store to close in the mall. South Coast Plaza is the largest shopping center on the west coast of the United States. Its pre-COVID sales of over $1.5 billion annually was the highest in the United States. Its 275 retailers represented the highest concentration of design fashion retail in the U.S. South Coast Plaza continuously brings in approximately 24 million visitors annually. The shopping center has about 2.8 million square feet. So what are your memories of this mall? Leave a comment below. For me, it was the Massimo store.
Say what?
Say what?
Say what?
Say what?
Say
what? What?
Say.
Yes, I know. Way before you saw the clothing line in Target or that college cheating scandal, Massimo was actually trying to be a high-end fashion brand, and they had a store in South Coast Plaza. I remember going in and seeing how fancy the store was. Yes, I know, it was in Target. Welcome back. I decided to drive out to South Coast Plaza today to check out the mall. I hadn't been there in about 10 or so years. As I drove around the outside of the mall, I'm still shocked to see so many anchor stores at this mall. I mean, there was a Macy's, Bloomingdale's, Saks Fifth Avenue, to name a few. In response to all of the comments from a previous video about this mall, I wanted to see if I could include those in this video. Josiah Smith mentioned the new Collage culinary experience that opened on the Bloomingdale side in 2021. There are many new restaurants at this mall since I was there. Upon entering from the 21 Forever side, I noticed how this mall has changed a lot. On my left, I noticed a Claim Jumper restaurant, which was unusual since they are normally freestanding buildings, but also the fact that many of the restaurants have recently closed. Much of the mall is how I remembered it, but I noticed that there wasn't a lot of typical stores you would find at a typical mall. There weren't any Hot Topics, Torrid, Spencer's, Funko Pop oriented stores or stores selling kicks or products appealing to the younger generations. The carousel is still there, although I could have sworn that it was bigger. Maybe when we were young, everything seemed bigger. Here's what it looked like in the 1980s when I used to go to the mall here. And this is what it looks like now. Obviously, the mall seems to be much brighter than how I remembered it. I visited this mall on Thursday, and the mall wasn't really crowded. I noticed more of an affluent crowd now, with very few kids. Before, this mall was for everyone. Now I feel like I'm walking around an indoor version of Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills. The original Nordstroms opened in 1978 and would be there until 1986. A newer Nordstrom's would open in 1986 and is still there. Among some of the other comments about this mall, many people have mentioned the Sanrio store. Some of them even called it the Hello Kitty store. Another commented on the Magic Pan restaurant. Another thing that I noticed was the sheer amount of mall security.
Secret.
That is a good thing, I guess.
Okay, roger
But
that.
I counted over 10 at this mall. But I guess it's better to feel safe than shopping at a mall full of sketchy people. The mall today has more high-end name brand stores than any other mall that I've been to. In fact, it seems like every expensive name brand store has a store in this mall. The former Bullock store, which occupied the location from 1973 to 1996, would later become a Macy's starting that same year. The I-Magnin would be at the mall from 1977 until 1991. Followed by a Bullock's Men's from 1991 until 1996. It would change to a Macy's Men's store in 1996. In June of 1997, a 16,000 square foot Rainforest Cafe, which dubs itself a wild place to shop and eat, opened on the first floor near Sears. They would close along with McDonald's in June of 2013. In 2014, an 8,000 square foot Din Tai Fung restaurant opened in the former Rainforest Cafe location. You may have also remembered the Del Taco restaurant at this mall as well. Sears, which for years had let Del Taco sell its macho burritos in a space adjacent to its South Coast Plaza store, cut ties with the taco chain due to unexpected lease issues in June of 2010. Tiffany & Company had a huge kiosk in the center court of the mall with a cool digital LED feature. Some of the interior has changed over the years, including the railings. Even the former May Company from 1966 to 1993 changed to Robinson's May from 1993 to 2006 before changing its name to Bloomingdale's in 2006. South Coast Plaza had made an addition of a freestanding wing across Bear Street, identified as Crystal Court, and anchored by the Broadway and J.W. Robinsons, which opened in the fall of 1986. The J.W. Robinsons would be at the Crystal Court from 1986 until 1993. It would become Robinson's May West from 1993 to 1999. Between 1999 until 2016, Crate and Barrel, Borders Books, and Sport Chalet would occupy the former Robinson's May building. Anthropology now occupies the former retail spaces. On the other end, the Broadway was on the other side of Crystal Court. It would be there from 1986 until 1996. It would become a Macy's clearance store from 1993 to 1996, and finally a Macy's home store from the year 2000. As I walked through this mall, it brought back many memories. I used to come here a lot as a kid, even though it was 20 or so miles from my house. My parents used to say that people would actually dress up to shop here. You can see why with all of these upscale shops. Other comments talked about Christmas at this mall, as well as the carousel and the fountains at this mall. Here's some of the pictures in the 1980s, and here's what it looks like now. A recent news article stated that South Coast Plaza is the largest shopping center on the West Coast, and shoppers from all over the globe agree it continues to be a top international shopping destinations, with over 250 boutiques and housing the world's top designers, as well as offering over 30 international dining destinations. The Saks Fifth Avenue store opened in 1979. When I was walking around, Gucci was going to be opening a new store on the lower level. More than 56 years after its opening, the total sum of South Coast Plaza's growth have reached a staggering 2.8 million square feet, with more than 20 million customers visiting each year from around the world. In 2021, South Coast Plaza's annual sales exceeded $2 billion. Other stores you might remember was the Sears and the Tinderbox, which was the first two lease signers when the mall opened. Others remember an old arcade near the Sears, or how about the Plaza Cutlery and the Hallmark store? Many may even recall Woolworths at this mall. As far as crime goes, a shopper was recently followed home after shopping at South Coast Plaza and was robbed of $100,000. In August of 2023, 5 to 10 thieves stole more than $100,000 worth of handbags from the temporary Gucci store. That would be like 20 to 25 handbags. Today, the mall's going pretty strong. The mall is definitely different from the times I had gone to the mall. Gone are all the mall tenants that I would go to and are replaced with upscale stores that I could never afford. Maybe a keychain. Oh wait, that would be like $100. Never mind. Congratulations, you made it this far into the video.
When I find you.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
So let's see how close you were paying attention to my video. So how many anchor stores closed in this mall? So if your answer is 10, Give yourself a hand. You were paying attention. Thanks for watching. So what do you remember about this mall? Leave a comment or some more details that I may have missed, or maybe even a suggestion for a future mall video you would like to see. Don't forget to hit that like button and please subscribe to Eric C. Productions. Thanks for watching.